Welcome to Girl Talk. This is our fourth episode about masculine and feminine energy. And today we're going to discuss the interplay between masculine and feminine energy. So if you haven't listened to the previous episodes, please do so. This is a new concept that we're all learning about, and we just want you to know that it hits close to home to all three of us here. So we also are learning and growing through understanding better what is masculine energy, what is feminine energy, how do they coexist, and just delving into that deeper with you. So believe me, we're all learning and growing here. Okay, so let's dig in. I've got Kia and Bahar again. I wish I can have them on every episode with every topic. They are so fun to have. So ladies, let's dive into this one. What does it look like to coexist? Masculine and feminine energy.
So just to recap for 30 seconds, masculine energy is very directive, it's focused, it's task-oriented, logic, penetrative, moving forward energy. Whereas feminine energy is lean back, receive, think, feel, and flow. It's dark, it's mysterious. So how do these two work together? How do you operate? And the idea that culture has confused it. Culture has made masculinity toxic and femininity weak. Now, one of the things that I don't use when I describe masculine or feminine or alpha or omega energy is the idea of weakness or submission or any of those sort of loaded words that assign judgment or value. We need both men and women flow in it. It starts with understanding of what we're doing, and for me, it's learning to create space, to create the space where the men in my life, whether it's my husband, whether it's my son, whether it's my coworkers, whether it's friends, whoever it is, allowing them to step up and to embrace the masculine qualities of protecting, of giving, of directing, of logic. It's not telling them what to do, but making space so that they can step up and as a woman receiving it. And like as an example, if I expected my husband to do something, to operate in a masculine, if I expected him to remember that being, walking along the road where there's cars coming, it makes me feel unsafe, I could say to him, why did you do this? I didn't want to walk here. Why didn't you, take us to this path? Instead of saying that and condemning him, I could say, I feel very unsafe here. These cars speeding by make me feel very unsafe, and then stop. And that allows him to step up and say, well, let me fix that. And he comes and he fixes that. So there's so many examples that we can give, but that's one way where women can really step into their feminine and allow and give men space to be in their masculine energy.
That's a very mature way of handling that situation, and I think that's something that you and I would learn now, so many years later, right, into our marriages. Bahar, what does that look like for you?
Well, like you mentioned, I think it takes an intentional effort. I think this is why we're speaking about this, because there's an awareness that we need to understand about these two energies and how to create the space for them. And I think it takes part for the woman to make space for it, and the man too, if there's any men listening. But I think it's interesting because when me and my mom were learning about this, you were learning about it, I think, in the context of your marriage, and because we're in two very different points in our life. And obviously, I just finished high school, interacted with some guys, we're seeing that, and I think it's especially important for our youth when we're raising sons. Like, I have a younger brother, almost 12 years old, my mom's son. We also want to make that intentional effort to help younger men step in to that masculine energy without condemning it or making them feel bad for it the way that society has labeled it as toxic. So kind of like how the example my mom gave, if I was with a group of guys at my school, like I had many guys friends, maybe if there are heavy things, I ask them, can you please help me bring this to my car? Or carrying bags, like backpacks, and just help like that with the feminine energy residing in me, receiving that, and the masculine energy being a protector, provider. And I think that's important to instill in men at a young age, because they'll take that on and they're not labeling it in their heads as like masculine in the way that society defines it. It really is just an energy, and I think that's important in our youth today, and it's something I want to make aware to girls my age, trying to find a significant other and really just making space for that, for their potential partners to embody that masculine energy when they want to be in their feminine.
And Carolyn, let me point out this misconception. I think, by saying this, we're not saying that women, there's any weakness or you always have to be in this receiving mode and never really saying what's on your mind and being direct and assertive. We're not saying that at all. But the idea is, one, be aware of the misconceptions of, this is weak, this is strong, and men always have to be in masculine or women always have to be in feminine. Those are misconceptions. And two, that we both flow in both. So I call it, now this is a new word, resonance, right? So when we're operating in resonance, it means that we're complementing each other. There are times where both men and women will need to be in the alpha energy. For example, if like in school, if you're both working on a project and you both need to be assertive, direct, you both complementing, you're resonating together. Or there are times where she might need to step back and let him step up. There are times where he might need to step back, especially say, he's had a trauma in his life. He's lost somebody. He's going through some difficult emotional things. Most men are, like, physiologically, they're just not equipped to handle that. So the female counterpart will come and support him. And in that way, she's the alpha. She's the one directing. She's the one leading. And that's okay. Knowing that you both flow in both energies, sometimes resonating together, both in alpha, both in omega, sometimes opposite, where one's receiving, one's giving. But knowing that it's not all or one, it's not weak or strong, and we all, operate that. Scripturally, Proverbs 31 is a woman who is in her alpha.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
She's taking care of things, running the house.
Yeah.
I know, I can't wait to discuss her. We're actually going to be discussing her as we conclude our episodes, because she's a great woman to unpack.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think one thing that could be a great takeaway from this particular episode as we conclude is what both of you touched on. Create the space. Make space, make room. Stop labeling. Stop categorizing strength and failure and weakness. Like, let's not do that to one another. And every time a woman tries to express her emotion, she's known as a drama queen. We need to drop that word. Men are not allowed to express their emotion because then they're more feminine. So I think we need to strip society, and it begins with us. It starts with one person. I mean, we're not going to change the world, but we can change it one person at a time. So I definitely think we need to create space for both males and females to better understand each other, because I think that will also start developing healthier communication and understanding. And the expectations that we are setting for one another, we're disappointed because we can't meet those expectations. So I thank you so much for tuning in. I think you got a brief idea of how both energies can coexist. And in our next episode, we're going to go one more step, and then we're going to conclude with episode 6. Please join us again. Thank you.